Well, I know you guys saw that I responded to a fan, talking about 2013. They don't understand how I didn't get Defensive Player of the Year, and I felt the same way. And I felt like it was one of the tragedies of my career because it was the perfect storm. 2013, we were the best defense in football, arguably one of the best defenses to play the game, obviously in the modern era, and you can argue with somebody else because I'm not going to argue with that. Led the league in interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, a touchdown. I was involved in a run game. I showed up when I needed to show up. I ended multiple games. In the Houston Texans game, brought our team back, tied the game with 3 minutes to go, made huge plays in the playoffs, made huge plays in the regular season, not just normal plays, but plays that helped my team win the game. These aren't like interceptions and blowouts where it's like, oh, man, the game's out of hand. It's like, hey, it's a 10-13 ball game. The other team has the ball, and I pick it off, give it back to our offense, and then we go down and win the game in this game. And so it was one of the frustrating things in my career because the only argument people had was, hey, you and Earl split votes. It's like, yeah, but how? So you give it to somebody who doesn't deserve it? Because no offense to Luke, but Luke had seasons similar to that in his rookie year, in his third year. So if that's the case, then you could have gave it to him every year. And you could give it to Bobby Wagner with similar stats to what Luke Kuechly had in his prime. I mean, I would say Bobby probably had 4 or 5 seasons that are comparable to the season Luke Kuechly had where he got Defensive Player of the Year. And we were the number 1 defense. We weren't the number 2 defense. We're number 1 in a lot of categories. And I led the league in interceptions. So as a corner, it didn't seem like I could do more. At that time, Charles Woodson had gotten Defensive Player of the Year in, I think, 2009, and he had similar stats. He had 1 more interception, but everything else is pretty similar. But I think he might have had a couple sacks because he played nickel and safety and did a lot of other things. But he had 9 interceptions. I had 8. I think he had 3 forced fumbles. I had 3 forced fumbles. I don't know if he had a pick 6, but they were comparable. And then you look later on, and Gilly got the defensive MVP. He got Defensive Player of the Year with 6 interceptions and deserved it. And then you look at Surtain, got Defensive Player of the Year last year. But I felt like there was nothing more I could have done, and I'm sure Earl feels the same way. There's nothing more we could have done but be on a different team. And the impact that we had on the league that year, the impact that we had on our team winning the Super Bowl should have been we should have had a Defensive Player of the Year on that defense. And that was a tragedy that didn't happen because it shouldn't have gone to anybody else. Nobody deserved it more. And you could say whatever you want, argue with somebody else, because there's no way you could justify it. There's no way anybody on a defense played better than we played that year. Anybody. And that was in the regular season, in the postseason, everywhere. We played incredible football, and we didn't walk with a Defensive Player of the Year because they said we were too good of a defense. And I just don't. I didn't respect that. I didn't think that was justified. I didn't think the statistics for other players justified them winning it over us. I didn't think their defensive rankings justified them winning over it. You can call me what you want. That's how I feel about it. And I thought that was one of the tragedies. I thought they stole that one from us. And we had a really complete year. We won the Super Bowl. We had the All-Pros. But we needed the Defensive Player of the Year. And it should have went to either Earl or myself. And it didn't. And we were the number 1 defense in just about every category. And we didn't get it. So it's frustrating. Usually you expect a special season like that where you have a defense playing like we did to have a guy to earn that award, and we didn't for whatever reason. But I guess that's life. That's life, and that's how things go. You can't rewrite history, but boy, if you could, I'm sure those votes would go differently. But it is what it is. I just wanted to put my 2 cents and put a stamp on that because people kept asking me about what I meant by that. And that's what I meant. I thought the best defense in football that year should have had a defensive player on it. Usually, if you're talking to offensive players, if they have one of the top offenses in football, there's probably going to be some awards on that offense. The quarterback who leads the best offense is usually up for the MVP. most of the time, or the receiver is up for offensive player of the year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we didn't get it that year, and it sucked.